And simply put, I go after the agents that do a lot of volume. I talk to them, I present myself, I say, hey, my name is Harvey, and I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I've dealt with a lot of bad buyers in my life.
Yeah.
I am not one of those. I'm not going to have drive you around for days and then dump you. No, I'm gonna go to the home. I'm going to preview it. I'm going to handle all of escrow. I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to give you my commission because I'm an agent.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is sit back and collect my commission, but I need to get this property.
Yeah.
And they like to hear that.
Hey guys and gals, this is Trevor with Carrot, and this is definitely a different form of a CarrotCast than we've ever had, which I'm pretty excited about it. I've got a guest with me, as you guys can tell across the table from me. This is the first CarrotCast format that we've ever had like this. And it's funny, right before I hit record, we're actually trying to figure out how to do a podcast with two people in the same room, because we always do the podcast on Skype. And we do have a studio here in the loft, but there's a couple things I need to figure out on it. A lot of other people are using it here, but I haven't been using it yet. So this is a good little moment to go, okay, I need to figure out how to use the studio because that's perfect for these kinds of things. But I want to introduce you to my guest sitting across the table from me here. Harvey and I have had a chance to connect just even the past 3 days. I mean, he's been up here in Roseburg, Oregon at our headquarters, hanging out at my house, having dinner out there with the family here at the Carrot office today, getting a bunch of cool work done. But we go back a couple of years, really. Harvey's been a client of ours, doing really, really well. And to give you some quick backstory, he's here in Oregon at our offices for these last 3 days, partly because he really contributed in a massive way. There was this fundraiser that we were a part of in October this last year. The shooting at the school here in Roseburg at Umpqua Community College, which would have been 2 Octobers ago. There's a big fundraiser and 9K race that we participated in to raise funds for scholarships for the Victims Fund, where 9 people were killed at that school shooting here in Roseburg. And I sent out an email, like not really honestly expecting anyone to step up that big. We had a lot of customers step up and donate $100 or $200 or $25 here or there. And I said, you know what? You can't get anything big if you don't ask for anything big. Yeah. And so I sent out an email and said, anyone that's willing to step up and donate $3,000 or more to the cause, we'll fly up here, put you up for a few days, and master on with you and hang out. And Harvey texted me not too long after that.
Yeah.
And said I just closed the deal, netted me $50K. I'd love to help. So that's a really good segue to introduce you, man. Introduce yourself really quick and tell people a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Harvey Gronwald. I'm with a company called Mobile Home Flipping Secrets. It's actually my company. And I've been investing with your sites for a few years. I've done really well, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Lately what I've been doing is I'm finding myself in a new niche in mobile homes, and it's one of those things where I was kind of pushed into it because, at least in my market, there's so many people chasing after the same regular kinds of deals that I kind of fell into a mobile home at one point, and it was just so much easier because there wasn't all the same people going after the same deal. And I'm like, I'm going to do this again. So I went again, and there's just not a lot of competition. So I've kind of formed this niche working with mobile homes where everybody else is running past me to some single-family home. I'm standing there with just me and the owner, and I get the deal, and I get it wrapped up, and I've done pretty well. What I've learned is if you can make these look as good or better and stage them real nice and just you don't always want to show the outside right away. You want to kind of show the inside and make it really look appealing. You can get a lot of people interested in these things and do pretty well.
Man, it's been really cool. Just even the past couple of days. So Harvey, last night at the house, he was showing us some stuff, and then today here in the office, like, take a look at this listing on one of my properties, and we'll probably dive into some of those methods and stuff here that people can take and really apply. But also kind of even before you really made that focus switch into mobile homes, you were flipping a lot of houses in Southern California. You still are, but that's how we first connected. Was Harvey buys houses, right?
Harvey buys homes.
Harvey buys homes. Licensed agent in California, does a bunch of business that way. Flips houses and has really carved out an amazing niche in mobile homes, but not the way that you guys are thinking. So we'll kind of dive into that in a second. One thing, like completely outside of real estate, I know you've kind of seen this the last couple of days. We've had a chance to drive up to Eugene and pick up my younger brother at the airport there. Had some good sushi, which we're going to talk sushi in a second. We headed up the river and went hiking a little bit. But a couple of things. So you love fly fishing, which is something that I love the thought of fly fishing. So I'm going to get started on that this year. But then sushi, we both really like sushi. And when we were up there at the sushi place, me and Kyle were like, we need to do a podcast on this because Harvey is insanely experienced at sushi. And he really schooled us on sushi. And I'm going to toss a couple things out there. But dude, give people a little bit of perspective. If you guys like sushi, listen up. But give people a little bit of perspective on kind of your experience with travel and sushi in Japan.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring it back to our experience yesterday in a second. But
okay, so I'm really big into sushi, but my fiance, she's Japanese. So, I would take her to what I thought was a really good sushi place in my area when we started dating. And she's like, this really isn't that great.
Yeah.
So she's like, what you need to do is you need to look for certain types of sushi. And you need to go for things that have a little bit more fat in them. And those are going to be the pieces you're not going to get from a regular, sushi joint. Or you have to ask for that. You need to let them know that you really know what you're doing. So what I kind of like to do is I'll go in there and I'll be like, hey, I'll go to the chef and I'll say, hey, I want the best thing you have. Surprise me, impress me, make me want to come back here all the time.
Yeah.
And usually what will happen, and this kind of happened yesterday, is the chef will come out and they'll come and talk to you, and you gotta let them know that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I've been to Japan, and in Japan, the sushi is really, really good. Yeah. It's it melts like butter, you guys. It really does. Mm-hmm. So they come out and they talk to you and say, hey, bring me the best thing you have, the freshest thing. It doesn't matter what it costs. Just bring it and keep bringing me the best stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get some really good sashimi and sushi. Yeah. So that's kind of what I started doing. And so we started doing that in different parts of the country. Mm-hmm. We did that in Japan. Even in Japan, I'd go into these, amazing sushi restaurants and we would say the same thing. And you should have seen some of the amazing things that we got. We had the one, it was a fish. I think I showed you the video of it. There's a video of the fish. I wish I could show it to you guys.
You might be able to.
I might be able to. I don't know if I can. But it's basically there was a fish tank and it was behind the sushi chef and he's like, do you want something really good? I'm like, just bring it, And he caught a fish in the tank behind him. He brings it, he fillets it, and he puts it on the counter and it's kind of got a skewer through it and the head's there and the whole body's there and there's the sashimi, the meat. Yeah. And it's still breathing.
Dude, that was wild when I saw it. I was telling my wife about that too because she's in the medical field and she's not very squirmy, but she's like, if I would have saw that, I would have been done. But a couple things that I learned from you yesterday, dude, on the sushi side. So I love sushi, but it's kind of one of those things where I'm probably a very average sushi eater, as in I like sushi, but you taught us about the different cuts of sushi. Actually, that'd be a good example. That'd be something.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see this. All right.
A little bit. It's
a little bit. Okay, so this is the side of, this way, tuna. So this part right here, the really red part, is what you're going to get at a regular sushi restaurant. The part that's really good is going to be the whiter part. It gets fatter and fatter as it goes here, and leaner and leaner and leaner as it goes that way. So this is the inexpensive stuff, you guys. What you're going to want to order is the stuff right here. It's called fatty tuna or fatty with two words fatty in front of it. Like that, just a little tiny piece, you guys, is going to cost you, sometimes it'll cost you $20 a piece. Yeah. But it's like butter. It's really good. So if you want to go splurge and get some really good stuff and you show the chef this, they're going to know that you're in a different game. And the other thing you want to kind of say, I'm getting caught up here, is wasabi is also something that I really like to have really good wasabi. Mm-hmm. And most people think of wasabi, it's the green paste that you get and it's hot. But the real wasabi, it's actually a root. And what they do is they'll grind it up and they put it in saran wrap and they have to flip it over. Mm-hmm. At least that's what they tell me. And then they let it sit for a while. And if they don't do it just right, it doesn't have that bite anymore. Mm-hmm. So the real wasabi, you say, look, I want the fatty tuna. I want the salmon belly with the fat. And I want the fresh wasabi. And then they know you know what you're talking about. And then they'll bring it on. And you might find some restaurants that are better than others, and some are going to surprise you. And actually, the one that we did this to recently in Japan, the chef was we really had some fun and got to talking. And he invited us to the largest fish market in Japan, which you're not even allowed to be in. Yeah. So we got behind the scenes, and he strayed off a couple of times, and security would come try to get us and get us out of there. But it was really amazing to see these like really big 400-pound tunas, and the kind of stuff I just showed you on my phone. You'd see it live. So it's pretty cool stuff.
That is cool, and I know so we did that. We ate some sushi, and there's some awesome sushi. All the sushi was pretty good, but there's that. I think it's the yellowtail belly.
The belly.
That we ordered and had another set.
Yeah, we got another set. That was really good. Yeah.
And then you mentioned too one other thing too. So the temperature of the tuna, I never honestly thought, or the fish, I never thought about that before. Yeah. You were going through and eating some of it, and you're like, that's a little too cold. I'm like, too cold? I don't know. That's a good thing, isn't it? But then, as you explained, the temperature and how that can help with flavor, it's important.
Yeah. So it's kind of like if you've ever had like a Slurpee or anything like that, or even a Coke or something, and you drink it when it's warm, it's going to be extremely sugary, very, very strong.
Yeah. When
it's colder, it's not quite as strong the taste. So the same thing with sushi and sashimi. And just so you guys know, the difference between sushi and sashimi is just the fish. Sushi is on the rice.
Gotcha.
So when they bring you sashimi or sushi, it's got to be the correct temperature. If it's too cold, all you feel is cold. You don't taste the flavors. If it's too warm, it feels kind of odd.
Yeah.
The same thing with the rice. If you're going to get rice, if you ever see them, they'll take rice and they'll do this. And sometimes they'll tap it with their fingers.
Yeah.
Because they want it to be the exact same, the correct consistency.
Yeah.
It can't be too cold. It can't be too warm. It can't be too loose. It can't be too tight. If it's too tight, you bite into it. It's like really hard, and it's not
hard and gummy, and
it's not the good experience. If it's too loose, you dip it in some soy sauce and it falls apart.
Yeah.
So it's got to be just right. So
I love it. So hopefully, if there's other sushi connoisseurs out there, you guys have picked up some tidbits. I know I did when we were at sushi yesterday. I thought we'd share that with you. So a couple of the things, man. I mean, let's kind of briefly go through your journey. We've got a short amount of time here. I've got to pick up my daughter in 15, 20 minutes. We got some time, which is cool. So how did you get into real estate? I know earlier this week you were mentioning that your job was kind of outsourced. So kind of what happened there and what led you into the real estate side?
Well, I was doing some small deals on the side, meaning I mostly rental properties. I buy a rental property. And way back then, I'd put 20% down, I'd get a tenant in there, and then I'd kind of just wait it out. And over the course of time, I was, watching videos online and different stuff, and I eventually thought I wanted to get into, flipping and that kind of thing. And I started doing a couple of little deals on the side. And then eventually what happened was I was thinking I wanted to get to a point where I could go full time. It's right about that time when they outsourced my entire department.
Yeah.
And I was basically all right, I'm in a situation where I either go find another job, or I just go full time.
So what were you doing in that previous career?
I was an IT director for a hospital, actually for University of California, Irvine, and that's right about the time I found your site.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew that before, but that's kind of like right when I came in there, and I'd already been doing some stuff, but I needed to amplify my business. I needed to amplify the leads coming in. I wanted to find a portal that would work, that was proven, and I knew I could commit myself to it. And I found you, and I signed up, and
sweet.
And here I am now. I've come quite a long way. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, man. And I'll toss it out to people too. The first time that I never heard Harvey's name was on one of our weekly coaching calls. And if you guys are Content Pro member or above, you've got access to our weekly coaching calls. We used to call them Mastermind Call back then, but we just switched the name this January to Coaching Call. It's really more of a coaching call, where it's us delivering content rather than everyone sharing their stuff on there. And one thing I really love is when clients share their stories. Both the stuff that's not working, because we want to help you through it, but also the success stories, because I want to hear them. You want to hear that the work you're doing is helping people, and you want the validation, right? Yeah. That go, okay, we're doing the right things, let's keep on doing that, or here's what we can do better. And someone shared some results that they had, and I asked something to the effect of, hey, is there anyone else on here? Like, what results have you got in the past 60 days or whatever? And Harvey chimed in. It was something like, man, I netted $80,000 this month or whatever it was on some deals.
Yeah. I think I said I made $89,000 for $3,000 in AdWords or $2,000 in AdWords or something. And I think I was saying, look, if you guys are doing AdWords, just keep doing it. It's going to pay off. Yeah, and that's what we started.
Yeah, and that's what Harvey had been doing for a while, and I think that's really still your main online marketing marketing method anyways, is just using the Carrot platform, launching some good, simple, but effective Google AdWords. And it works. It's been working great for a really high ROI. What else are you doing offline to pull in deals? And you're in a really competitive market, so it's not like you're in a market where there's no competition, so you got to get creative to get deals.
The interesting thing is I make friends with a lot of REO agents, a lot of agents specifically. And I'll have agents call me and tell me, hey, check this out. And that's really huge. Like right now I'm doing at least 50% of my deals are coming from agents. And they're really good. As an investor, I've many times tried to call and you try to call on this killer deal, and the agent won't respond. They don't, but it's always gets sold, right? I'm like, how do I become that guy that's getting in front of that agent? And simply put, I go after the agents that do a lot of volume. I talk to them. I present myself. I say, hey, my name's Harvey, and I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I've dealt with a lot of bad buyers in my life. I am not one of those. I'm not going to have drive me around for days and then dump you. No. I'm gonna go to the home. I'm gonna preview it. I'm gonna handle all of escrow. I'm gonna do everything, and I'm gonna give you my commission because I'm an agent. All you got to do is sit back and collect my commission, but I need to get this property. And they like to hear that, And
no work. I get paid, and the guy's gonna close.
I will close. And that's the big thing is letting them know that because they're an agent too. They've dealt with really bad buyers in their lives and cancel on them and cause them stress. I go, I'm not going to do that. So they'll laugh and say, oh my gosh. They'll say, have you ever had a really bad buyer use you? Yeah, I go, that's not me. I'm going to close. And that gets them laughing. And it's funny, it builds some rapport there. And then when something comes up, I get the deal. So it really works.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, because we've talked about it a lot in the CarrotCast and coaching calls and all of our content that we're definitely in a market that's competitive, right? You've got as housing prices go up, more investors want to pile in and be an investor, more agents want to become, or more people want to become agents. And so if people are going out there doing the minimum and they're just reaching out to the agent or reaching out to the seller once, and then they kind of go, well, they didn't call me back. Maybe, I don't know what happened. Then you got guys like Harvey that are just being more strategic. You're being a lot more strategic. You're building the credibility. So you're being very conscious of that this is what's going through the agent's mind or the seller's mind. How do I now address that issue when I get a hold of them purposefully and go, okay, let me combat those issues in their mind so I have a logical choice out of the dozens of people I'm competing with.
Absolutely.
And that's the cool thing. And you mentioned before that sometimes you'll be able to get deals where you're paying less than other offers and close them.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Especially in the mobile home space. What I'll do is when I talk to an agent, let's say they might have an offer that's 150 or some number, and I say, I want to come in at 110 or whatever it might be. And then I go through the whole, I talk to them, I say, look, I've been doing mobile homes for a long time. There's nothing about mobile homes that scares me. I currently have, I think right now I have 26 that I'm holding. And I'd say, look, if you've ever dealt with a mobile home before, you know that when you're the listing agent with a mobile home, many times you'll get a buyer. And I'm talking to the agent that's a listing. You'll get a buyer, and you'll be halfway through escrow, and since nobody knows much about mobile homes, they'll get spooked by something like it's not level, it's sinking, and there's this crack down the middle. Mobile homes are on piers, so things sink and crack, and you just got to jack them back up. But the big thing that happens with mobile homes is the buyer will usually get spooked, and then one of their relatives or their family or friend will say, oh my gosh, don't buy a mobile home, it's just going to lose value, and that buyer's gone. And I say to the agent, have you ever had that happen to you, or have you ever heard of that? And they say, absolutely. I go, that's not going to happen with me. I know everything about these things inside, outside, backwards, forwards, and I will close, I promise you. So what happens is I get my offer accepted even though there's higher offers. And I make that happen. So I'm that guy that when you call and somebody already got the property.
It's Harvey. So there's a couple things I want to unpack a little bit more. So, we've talked about the mobile home stuff a little bit, and that you've shifted a good part of your focus over toward that. Man, kind of discuss why, because people are probably looking at it and go like, why is he buying mobile homes, right? But you have a very specific reason. It's working great for you right now.
Well, in my market, it's getting pretty competitive in my market. And what'll happen is, your lead will come in, whether it's through your sort, through Carrot or a different one. And by the time you get there, there'll already be 10 or 15 other people that are trying to compete for that, and it drives the price up. With mobile homes, what I found is there's just not a lot of people in that space, and it'll just be me and that seller, or me and that agent, and they don't have a lot of deals. And what I found also is that, and this is a really key point, is there's different kinds of mobile home investing. There's mobile home investing where the land is owned under the mobile home, and then there's mobile home investing where there's a mobile home in a park. You can profit in both, but what I like to do is I like to go with mobile homes that are on land that are within, say, 30 to 45 minutes, or just from a city where there's like regular homes, and you're going to find where there's a little bit more land and there's going to be mobile homes on those. And again, you're going to own the land underneath it. So when I make these homes look absolutely outstanding, I mean, they look like $1 million. We stage them all mid-century modern furniture. It looks like $1 million. And so what I'll do is I will post a picture of the inside of the home. When I list it, I don't post a picture of the outside. Then they don't see what it is.
Before Harvey goes into this is a big deal, guys and gals. So even if you're selling single family or whatever, listen to what he's talking about here, because oftentimes the way that you sell the home and the value you can get can dictate how much you can buy for it, which helps with your competitiveness on the buy side. So would you be cool if we linked up one of your property listings, like the one that you showed, like below this podcast? Just so we can see the pictures and stuff. But anyway, so he's going to describe to you how he markets his properties better, just with the visuals, just with the pictures and stuff, and eliminates that initial kind of perception that people will get about a mobile home. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a mobile home, so I immediately rule that out. He flip-flops that so that doesn't happen. So what do you do there?
So what you can do is you can list them as a single family. When a mobile home is attached to the ground, it's called a registered 433. It's actually permanently affixed to the ground. And then they can be financed with FHA or regular financing. They are real property. If they just have wheels underneath them and they can be rolled away, they're technically not real property. So once you have a home and you list it as a single family home, when people go online, let's say in your area, let's call it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath goes for a single family home, not a mobile home, goes for $400. But mine's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the same square footage, and let's say it's $250. And when they're searching for a 4-bedroom home, and mine comes up and it's $150,000 less than another home, and mine looks like $1 million, my phone's ringing off the hook, right? And it's ringing. And then when I show it to them, and the way it looks, and all the people that show up because it looks like a really good value, I get my number, and I get it really quick. And that's really kind of the secret is you want them to compete with the single families, but to make it competitive, it has to look like $1 million. So I have a designer and a stager, and she goes through everything. We pick the paint colors. Everything she does is from she goes to all the model homes, and she sees what's popping, what's HGTV and Home and Garden, and everything kind of models that. So whatever people are really looking at nowadays that they like is what they're going to see in my homes, and that's really the trick. It really needs to be set up, because a lot of people don't quite have a vision with things, so you got to give them that vision. So everything, we can take a look here in a minute. We'll show you some of the photos, but that's really what I do. And also what happens is, since I'm able to, and I sell these things for a lot higher than comps, because I get, when there's something that's $150,000 less than a single family home, you get a lot of offers. And because of that, I'm also able to, when I need to, I'm able to pay a little bit more for something, because I can sell it for a lot more on the other end. So that eliminates a lot of my competition and puts me right where I need to be. So I have no lack of deals coming in right now. So.
Dude, and that's a cool thing. So we'll find some way to give you some visuals of these properties, even if we just grab some of the pictures on that listing you showed us today. But the basics of it, the very first photo that you showed me on that listing, it wasn't the front of the house like a lot of people show. It was like this living room shot of this amazing looking house, and the flooring looked great. It was all modern, kind of the colors that are the gray tones. They had painted one of the walls this awesome gray. They had staged it with really cool modern looking furniture. The kitchen was redone. I'm looking at it too, going, man, this is amazing. And then you had great photos. So you had someone who's just really good at taking real estate photos. I think a lot of people kind of cheap out on those things. They say, I'm going to save the $200 and get it with my iPhone, or I'm just going to throw a couple things in here, not really fully stage it. But on average, if you have this number, do you know about how much you put into, let's say, refurbishing a house, and then how much you put into the staging and selling of it, like the pictures, the staging, that kind of thing?
Sure. So the photography cost me about $200,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't do flyers anymore. That's an extra 50 because my home sells so fast that I don't need flyers anymore. The staging you're going to look at, it's about, let's say for instance, the average mobile home is about 1,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pay anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 for the staging.
Yep.
If I just want to stage the living room, the kitchen, the bathrooms, I can get away with about 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a nice master, and I do the master, maybe there's an attached bath, like an extra bath, you might be looking at like $2,000.
Okay.
And as far as the rehab costs, mobile homes are really easy to work on because you can get underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
But usually what I'll do is I'll just do my flooring, and you're looking at about $450 a square foot installed.
Mm-hmm.
Painting an inside of a mobile home costs me about $3,000.
Okay.
That's including the cabinets. And then what I'll do is I'll put quartz on top of the counters. I don't do granite anymore.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost me about $3,500 if there's 2 bathrooms and a kitchen.
Okay.
If there's an island, it's about another $400. And then that's really it. I'll do lighting. I get all LED lighting now because people like to see, energy efficient LED lighting. And then I get this cool sink from Amazon. I'm sorry, not a sink, the faucet. And it's a cool coilover sink with these coils on it.
Yeah.
And you can get them for I think it's like $67 or something. But if you go to Home Depot, they're like $300.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are looking at it, they think it's a $300,
Yeah.
faucet. And then I always do the same handles, or the 5-inch handles
Mm-hmm.
for the cabinets, and those are like $550 at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, but I can get them on Amazon for about $10.
Oh, really?
So people think I'm spending a lot of money. And then I always do new appliances,
Yeah.
And that's really about it. If I need to paint a mobile home on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
like if you go to a painter and you ask a painter to paint your home, you're looking at a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
But what I like to do, guys, and this is a really good trick, is I like to hire a handyman or somebody and say, hey, what's your hourly rate?
Mm.
All right, $10-15 an hour. And I say, all right, let's color match the main area of the mobile home.
Yeah.
So they go to Home Depot, they color match it, and they just roll it. And then I get away with a paint job for a day and a half of labor and a bucket of paint.
Yeah.
So I just-
$200.
Yeah, I just did one. It was he did the whole thing. He didn't do the trim. The trim was in good shape, he could have. He did a couple trim pieces because there's your trim, and the trim kind of goes toward the home as well.
Yeah.
I just had to do the front of it, the white front,
Mhm.
so that he doesn't have to cut in or be very detailed. He just rolled it and rolled the walls.
Yeah.
And I got myself several $1,000 paint job for
Sweet.
$200.
That's cool. So all in, I mean, it's kind of adding some of those numbers. If you got a few grand on counters and stuff, or on the paint,
About 20,000.
yeah, so 20,000
Yeah.
on the renovation, and just the numbers you were telling me before. These are like normal house flipping profits. This isn't what a lot of people are thinking on mobile homes, where they think they're gonna make 5, 10, or 15 grand. You're pulling in pretty hefty numbers.
Oh yeah, like maybe the one you're going to show here that I showed you. That one, the numbers on that, I think I got that at either 132 or 136,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was into it for 18 with all the appliances and everything, and then a couple grand for staging. So I did do it for about 20, and I sold it for $239.9.
Yeah.
And I sold it immediately the first weekend. And that's if you do the numbers there, that's a pretty good profit.
It's really good.
After all expenses and time and holding costs, which there's not a lot of holding costs, but I do like to hold everything for 3 months.
Yeah.
So you have that FHA rule, you hold it for 3 months, and you can do FHA financing, which is the same with mobile homes.
Okay.
So I think I made about 75, 76, somewhere around there profit on that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you only have to put a little bit in. You're only into it for 100 and 150.
Yeah.
To make that kind of money on a single family, you might have to 400,000 or something, depending on your market, of course.
And that's the thing. I think we did an episode of the CarrotCast with Gary Horton, and I've been talking with Harvey about Gary a little bit on the land side. And I think the cool thing there with both of these is you see market shifts in your market, and making sure that you're adjusting your business model to best fit how you can succeed in that market. And unless you're really wanting to go head to head with all those other house flippers and wholesalers, which you totally can. We have a lot of customers who are doing that and they're crushing it. But there's these niches out there that there's just very, very little competition for. So you can either go after these niches and get creative with them and have very little competition, or you can really tackle the high competition house flipping, which once again, there's a lot of money in that too. It just kind of depends on what you're wanting to do. And it's so cool that you can pivot a business, go in a direction most people aren't going, And it's almost like you found something that the people didn't discover. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's been great. So I'm doing a lot of them now. I would say 90% of what I'm doing now is manufactured, and I'm starting to do stuff in parks, and it's working in there too. Once you identify things and you start to see it more clear, every time you do one, you learn more and more and more.
Yep.
It's just I'm getting better and better at it. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Awesome. So we've got a couple more minutes here, and I got a jet, but I got one question for you. So you've been here since Saturday. It's Monday right now. He's taking off back home tomorrow. What if anything, is there anything surprising or that surprised you versus, I guess, what you saw about Carrot versus when you showed up and you've been here for a few days, or is there anything that you really got a lot out of the last couple of days being here?
You mean other than sitting down with you and brainstorming? That was absolutely amazing.
That was fun.
Yeah. I really love the people here. So friendly. Everybody at Carrot. Jen gave me a hug. I love your, everything you have on the walls here about your core values. That's really amazing. I knew you guys were, kind of like that, but to see it and hear it, to see how everybody's so friendly and the behind the scenes, it's just been really amazing.
Cool.
And I love it. And I'd love to meet you and your family and your team. It was just really enjoyable and really, had a great time.
Likewise, man. And this isn't the first time Harvey and I have met. We've met a couple other times, but it's really cool having you up here, man. And like I said, the obvious is I want to thank you for contributing and stepping up during the fundraiser. But either way, I think you would have been up here sometime anyway. That would just give a really good reason to get you up here sooner, because I know you're doing really cool stuff. I always look forward to hearing updates from you and all the cool stuff you're doing. And also, everyone listening to this, just kind of follow Harvey's lead and don't let roadblocks get in your way from really moving forward and taking good positive action. Be a sharer. I know one thing that Harvey's doing right now in this podcast, but also he's started a training course for helping to teach people what he's doing on the mobile home side. He needs to start sharing what he's doing. And what's the URL for that again that you got spun up?
It's mobilehomeflippingsecrets.com.
Mobilehomeflippingsecrets.com. You can check out what he's doing. He's got he was in Medford, Oregon just the other day and filmed several videos while he was out properties looking for stuff with one of his students, and it's just really cool stuff. So if you want to follow along, see what he's doing, check that out. Subscribe, watch his webinar, look at his content, and just really go out there and crush it. And one thing I'll toss out to you before I go pick up my daughter is if there's anything we can help you with, let us know. And also, if you happen to be passing through Oregon, let us know. We'd love to take you to lunch, take you out for a beer or something like that. You got to step up in a bigger way to hang out at my house for a couple days and spend an entire day here at the office like Harvey, and I love it. But we just absolutely love having our clients here. I want to find a way to get more of our clients here. It's just a lot of fun. And I just appreciate everyone watching this. Hopefully the audio came through okay, because this is the first time I've ever done one like this.
Yeah.
I'm sure the audio isn't exactly like our normal podcasts do, but hopefully it came through good. And Harvey, dude, thank you for coming and joining us.
Cool. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, guys. All right. Have an amazing rest of the week, y'all. And I just noticed on the video, so I got like this rash this week, y'all. This is the good version of it. So don't get into stuff that gives you rashes. But you guys go out there and crush it. Share your stories. See if mobile home flipping is something you want to do. Check out Harvey, and let's crush it this summer. Have an amazing rest of the week.